So you mentioned, Daphne, that sometimes we invite boundary erosion and we invite people to not honor our no. And one example you gave is when we over explain, which I don't know why we feel the need to do that. Like I've done that. Like you give a no, and then I guess you're trying to soften it and make it like a nicer no. And so you start to give a justification, like you owe a justification for it.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. I'm sure other people are guilty of it too. So that's one way you mentioned that we invite people to erode our boundaries. Are there other ways that we do that?
Yeah, I think so. If you remember, Janet Jackson had that album called Velvet Rope, right?
Yeah.
So I look at it as over explaining is kind of like the velvet rope that people learn to step over, right?
Hmm.
Generally, a rope keeps people in or out, right? But then you're over explaining, you're giving them an opportunity to just step over it and then just keep going, right? So apologizing for your limits is a reason why you're inviting that erosion. And it signals sometimes negotiability for my no, right? And then taking that pride in, rescuing crises ensures that you'll be the next person on the call. You're in, you want to be that person. You want to be that super person that's coming, the superhuman or what have you. And
Hmm.
so when you're looking at that, it's the clean no and the clear yes. Period. That's what it is. It's a clean no. You don't have to go through the explanations. And then a clear yes. Because if I'm going to be there and I'm saying yes, you know that I'm going to be there totally. And then I don't feel as though you need to explain the no, right? No is a complete sentence. So its context is, optional. And so explanations can be strategic and it shares only what it serves. And I think when you're looking at safety or power dynamics that matter, brevity protects you. When you keep going through all of those reasons why, you put yourself in a situation where people are just stepping over that rope that you thought that you were putting up there as a boundary,
Yeah.
you know?
And when you're a nice person, I think the brevity that you're referring to feels cold. And
It
so
does.
yeah, so it's an adjustment for us with those personalities to get
Yeah,
used
but
to
you
it.
have to, but when you look at that, you're trying to protect your peace, right? Because what's better? Right? So when
Yeah.
you look at clarity keeps relationships clean and clear.
Okay.
Overexposure clouds them. So you look at it from the perspective, I consider myself a direct person, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to give you too much so that you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm specifically saying, no, I'm unable to do that. And I may give you a reason. I have an obligation this weekend, or I've got a Q4 priority that needs to be done. Do we want to swap? Right. So I'm being clear. You don't have to
Okay.
figure out where I'm going. So,
Okay.
I'm not giving you that overextension for you to be like, what did she really mean? And we go away from the conversation unsure.
Got it. Okay. And that external clarity before you even get to that, it seems like you need internal clarity as well to know what your priorities are, right?
Exactly.
And what exactly you're protecting, because that's your anchor to kind of give you the courage and the reason why you're giving the no's so that you can be consistent with it. Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
I would imagine people are going to have to go through a process to get clear too, because
Mhm.
sometimes people aren't clear on what matters, and what's priority for them.
And that's a good point. So when you think about that, core values are key, right? What are the core values that you consider when you make a decision? What's important to you, right? And if you are being asked to do something that is in total opposition of what your core values are, you're not going to come to the plate there and you're going to be confused on what needs to be done because now you're taking your core values and you're allowing someone to erode them and step over them and think that it's okay. I mean, and that's important. I mean, everybody should come up with their core values. What makes you make a decision? What is not in alignment with your core values?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So this sounds very similar to any other goal,
Oh,
right? being clear
Exactly.
on what your core values are to make sure you're in alignment. Because,
That's right.
when we're talking about career coaching, we talk
Mhm.
about the same thing. You got to be
Yep,
clear on what your core values are, what are
that's
your
right.
strengths, what are your aspirations, making sure everything's
Exactly.
aligned so you don't end up way over here
That's right.
when you really were aiming here, right?
Exactly, exactly. And you say yes just out of that's the way you are. And so when you're looking at projects, when after the project has been deployed and you need to look at the scope and come up with the metrics, right? Did you meet those, right? Were they smart goals, strategic, timely, achievable, relatable, So when you're looking at those goals that you set for a project, it's the same thing, right? You need to
Yeah.
make sure that you're in alignment.
Okay. Okay. A lot of this seems like it requires a shift in mindset.
Mm,
So I'd like to talk about that because I
sure.
think until people start to deal with the mindset shift, then they're going to find themselves repeating old bad habits that lead to them in the same situation with people not honoring their boundaries or them not honoring their own boundaries,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
which again invites more erosion because once you say you have a boundary and then you don't hold up to it, it's like being a parent. When you tell the kids the next time you do that, this is going to be a
That's
consequence,
right. And you
and
don't
you
do it.
and you
That's
don't
right.
do it,
Uh-huh.
they don't respect you and they start doing the same behavior because they know you're not going to honor it, right?
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Very true.